The top stories tonight in Y News. President Rodrigo Duterte threatens to arrest people who refuse to get vaccinated against COVID-19, but the Justice Department says there is no legal basis for such arrest.
The Philippine Food and Drug Administration assures that COVID-19 vaccines offer protection against variants of the virus despite lower efficacy rates.
The country's Department of Labor and Employment seeks to shorten the quarantine period of returning overseas Filipino workers. Senate President Vicente Soto III calls on Facebook to shut down troll farms until after the 2022 national elections in the Philippines.
The World Health Organization plans to establish a COVID-19 vaccine hub in South Africa.
And a store in the United States of America offers color-coded bracelets to show social distancing comfort levels. Good evening, Philippines and the world. We are now reporting live from EDSA Cubao, Quezon City. Today is Tuesday, June 22nd, 2021. I am William Theo.
Join us in the next hour as we deliver today's top stories around the country and in other parts of the world. I'm Angelo Castro III.
We are also seen in 1,935 satellite monitoring centers nationwide and via live streaming worldwide through the UNTV News and Rescue social media accounts and our website, untvweb.com. I am Herlene Delgado.
First in the news, President Rodrigo Duterte has threatened to apprehend people who refuse to get inoculated against COVID-19. During his weekly Talk to the People address last night, President Duterte said people should heed the government's call to get vaccinated and protect themselves against the coronavirus disease. But according to the Department of Justice, refusing vaccination is not a crime. Dante Amento explains why.
Department of Justice Secretary Minardo Guevara defended President Rodrigo Duterte when he threatened to arrest Filipinos who refused to get vaccinated. According to Secretary Guevara, the president merely used strong words to drive home the need for us to get vaccinated and reach herd immunity as soon as possible. The Justice Secretary added, the president as a lawyer knows that not getting vaccinated is a legal choice and that there is no law as yet that compels vaccination against COVID-19, much less criminalizes it, as presently available vaccines are still in trial phases. Earlier, Malacanang stressed the need to pass a law or an ordinance to implement the mandatory vaccination against COVID-19 in the country.
Sa jurisprudence po ng Pilipinas at ng Amerika, pwede pong makumpel, pwede pong ipatupad ang compulsory vaccination. Pero kinakailangan po may legal na basihan. So kinakailangan po natin either ng ordinansa or ng batas na magpapataw din ng parusa doon sa mga ayaw magpabakuna. So ang sinabi po ni Presidente kahapon, well, kung kinakailangan gawing mandatory yan, meron naman talaga legal na basihan yan, pero kinakailangan ordinansa or ng batas.
The National Union of People's Lawyers or NUPL President Attorney Edri Olalia says there is no law that empowers President Rodrigo Duterte to order such arrest even in this time of health emergency.
Ngayon, ang tanong, ano ang batayan? Kailangan may krimen muna. Ngayon, may krimen ba sa hindi pagpapabakuna? Tapos pangalawa, kung may krimen ba, yung nabanggit mo na, meron bang sapat na dahilan?
Ulali adds, the president will also clash with the judiciary because under the law, only judges can order an arrest.
Ang problema dito, parang magbabanggaan. Paano kung sabihin ng korte ganito, tapos sabihin ng executive, ayoko, di magkakabanggaan yan. So magkakaroon ng, sana wag naman, ng tinatawag sa ay constitutional na crisis, no? Kasi sino magre-resolve ngayon kung yung dalawang sangay ay nagbabanggaan?
Dante Amento, UNTV, News and Rescue. We serve the people. We give glory to God.
The Philippines is among the priority recipients of the U.S. government-donated COVID-19 vaccine doses. Next month, the country is expected to receive about 800,000 to 1 million doses of the surplus vaccines. Rosa Dicos reports.
As part of the plan to donate vaccine from its domestic supply, the United States of America have begun shipping its excess vaccine supplies. Philippine Ambassador to U.S. Jose Manuel Romualdez revealed that the country will be receiving its share of donated vaccines in July. This is part of the 80 million doses pledge of U.S. President Joe Biden with countries around the world.
Doon sa 80 million na yun, we're going to get something like close to 800 to 1 million doses, either Moderna or AstraZeneca from their stockpile.
The Philippine diplomat also said this is apart from the 500 million doses U.S. has committed to share with the world through the COVAX facility or through direct donation, in which the Philippines will also benefit. U.S. President Joe Biden has pledged to help end the pandemic globally.
So we're getting quite a substantial amount of doses or vaccines coming from the United States, aside from what we've already negotiated.
The Philippines has already secured 20 million doses of Moderna as well as 40 million doses of Pfizer vaccines this year. Rosa Licos, UNTV News and Rescue. We serve the people, we give glory to God.
The country's Food and Drug Administration assured Filipinos can still be protected against the highly contagious Delta coronavirus variant through vaccination. Meanwhile, the Gamaleya Research Institute wants to amend their existing emergency use authorization in the Philippines. Aiko Miguel reports why.
The Philippine Food and Drug Administration admits that there is a decreasing efficacy of COVID-19 vaccines because of the emerging COVID-19 variants. According to FDA Director General Undersecretary Eric Domingo, their efficacy vary but vaccines can still give protection against variants. DG Domingo gave an example like the Pfizer and AstraZeneca vaccines being used in the inoculation program in United Kingdom. 90% of UK's cases are Delta variant driven, but the said vaccines are still effective to protect people from experiencing severe COVID-19 infection.
So far, the data for Pfizer shows that for the UK variant, yung Pfizer vaccine po, mataas pa rin, nare-retain niya yung mataas na efficacy rate niya of 93%. Pagdating po doon sa Delta variant, although bumababa po ng konti, meron pa rin naman pong 88% na efficacy against the Delta variant. Yun naman pong AstraZeneca vaccine, ang nakita po nila na overall efficacy niya for the UK variant is about 66%, at nung tiningnan po for the Delta variant, it's about 60%. So nagagamit pa rin naman po talaga, may protection pa rin na ibibigay.
Aside from Pfizer and AstraZeneca COVID-19 vaccines, experts are still studying the efficacy rate of other COVID-19 vaccine brands against the Delta variant. This includes the study of Janssen of Johnson & Johnson, Moderna, Sinovac, Sinopharm, and Sputnik V. DG Domingo also reported that they have received a letter from the Gamaleya Research Institute of Russia asking for amendment on some details of vaccination using Sputnik V.
They've already written us to say that they might be amending the emergency use authorization para habaan po yung time interval between the two doses. Parang very similar po ito do sa adenoviral virus vaccine natin na AstraZeneca, which we now give to 12 weeks.
Gamaleya also wants their vaccine to be just a single-dose regimen like the Janssen of Johnson & Johnson. The FDA is awaiting Gamaleya's submission of their scientific data to support the amendment they want to make. Currently, an initial of 80,000 doses of Sputnik V have been delivered in the country from Russia. Meanwhile, President Duterte advised DG Domingo just carry on fulfilling his duties despite all the criticisms he has been receiving.
Gawain mo lang yung trabaho mo. Do it right. And to hell with the criticism. Demokrasya to eh. They are entitled to that right. So, ikaw naman, you have to take it in stride. Pareho ka rin ng politiko. Because we are performing public functions and our actuations are really being observed, and other people, maligaya. Maybe you cannot please them all. So you just do your duty and forget about we have trust in you, the Filipino people.
Aiko Miguel, UNTV News and Rescue. We serve the people, we give glory to God.
The Department of Health reported that there are 3,666 new COVID-19 cases, bringing the total number of confirmed cases in the Philippines to 1,367,894. The last time that the DOH recorded less than 4,000 cases was on May 25, with 3,972 infections then. Of the cumulative total, 52,696 cases are still active. 91% of currently ill patients have mild symptoms, while 4.2% are asymptomatic, 1.40% have moderate symptoms, 2% are severe, and 1.4% are critical. Meanwhile, the death count jumped to 23,809 after 60 more patients succumbed to the disease. The DOH also reported that the tally of recoveries also went up to 1,291,389, with 6,810 new survivors.
The policy on wearing face shields remains mandatory due to the threat of the Delta COVID-19 variant. This was clarified by President Rodrigo Duterte last night, following the initial preference to using face shields only in hospital settings. The Department of Health reminded the significance of regular disinfection of face shields to avoid disease transmission. Marvin Calas will give us the details in this report live. Marvin, go ahead.
Yes, Diego, after a tedious discussion and having no firm decision on the use of face shield, President Rodrigo Duterte officially directed the mandatory use of face shield to serve as an additional layer of protection against the Delta COVID-19 variant, urging the public to abide by the policies which will benefit the citizens, including their loved ones.
Kasi para sa akin hindi lang sa pamilya ko, kahit sa kapwa ko din na magiging safe din sila pagka nakita nila na naka-face mask, complete ka. Kasi yun ang tama eh. Kasi kung ano yung gusto ng gobyerno, sundin natin, wala namang mawawala sa atin.
Para sa akin okay naman kasi para din na rin sa safety ng nakakarami. Mahirap nga pero siguro mas iisipin ko yung kapakanan ko at kapakanan ng iba para hindi na rin na dumami pa yung nagkakasakit.
Sa tingin ko naman, meron naman sigurong wisdom doon ng gobyerno na bakit hindi pa ito ang tamang panahon upang tanggalin ang mga face shield.
In relation to this, the Department of Health reminded the public about the significance of keeping face shields clean. In an interview, Department of Health Undersecretary Maria Rosario Vergere says it is important to sun-dry or regularly disinfect face shields prior to use. In case the acetate or acrylic gets blurry that affects the vision, it is recommended to replace it to avoid possible accidents from happening.
Meron pong evidence that eye protection such as face shields actually are able to reduce 78% infection such as through the ocular route, which occurs either by droplet or aerosol or self-inoculation. Dahil po pag nahahawakan po natin yung mata natin, syempre pwede mo doon pumasok yung mikrobyo.
Although the policy on wearing face shield is mandatory, under the DOH Memorandum Circular, exceptions includes motorcycle drivers and construction workers, among others. That's our latest live. Back to you, Diego.
Thank you, Marvin Calas. The Department of Labor and Employment said it will again seek the approval of the Interagency Task Force on Emerging Infectious Diseases to shorten the quarantine period of returning overseas Filipino workers, especially for those who have been vaccinated against the coronavirus disease 2019. Ray Pelayo explains why.
Fully vaccinated inbound travelers who have been inoculated in the Philippines only need to undergo a 7-day quarantine instead of completing the 14-day facility-based isolation. However, the new policy does not cover returning Filipinos and foreign nationals who have been fully vaccinated abroad. They still have to undergo a 10-day facility-based isolation and take a swab test on the 7th day. That is why in an interview, Labor Secretary Silvestre Bello III said he will try to appeal to the IATF the reduction of quarantine period for OFWs. OWA Administrator Hans Leo Kakdak said that the small working group of the IATF is now working on a system for the verification of vaccination cards from abroad.
Hindi dahil sa hindi sila nararapat na bigyan ng special quarantine protocol, kundi pinag-aaralan yung metodo ng validation ng kanilang mga vaccine documents na ipapakita pagdating nila dito.
According to Kakdak, if the quarantine of returning OFWs will be shortened, it will cost lesser. The government has repatriated around 587,000 OFWs since the pandemic started. Kakdak added the 5.2 billion pesos repatriation fund will only last until September. Ray Pelayo, UNTV News and Rescue. We serve the people. We give glory to God.
For those watching our 24/7 live streaming on YouTube, please click the subscribe button you see on your screen and ring the bell for notification. You may also follow us on Facebook.
Liberal Party President Senator Francis Pangilinan believes there is a need to unite and build a coalition to support the candidates who will be running against the administration bets in the upcoming polls. The senator says there are efforts to reach out to 4 prospective candidates: Manila Mayor Isko Moreno Dumagoso, Senators Panfilo Lacson, Nancy Binay, and Joel Villanueva.
We have to set aside our differences and build coalitions. Build a coalition, the broadest coalition possible. Sabi nga ni Vice President Lenny, while she's open to running for president, more important than her decision to run for president is to unite the various forces behind one candidate that will go up against the administration.
In response, Senator Lacson, who is mulling over a possible presidential bid, says it is not the first time that the party approached him. According to Lacson, he have always responded with an open mind and that it is a work in progress. The lawmaker earlier turned down the offer of Isang Bayan Coalition to be one of its nominees for the opposition's presidential and vice presidential candidates. For Senator Nancy Binay, there are wounds that still need healing before she can talk with the party about the 2022 elections. However, she did not elaborate. Meanwhile, Senator Joel Villanueva says he is open with coalition talks, which he described as a pre-election ritual and a dynamic process towards shared goals. While the Manila mayor says he has no time to entertain things related to politics and that fighting the pandemic is his only concern as of now. He adds all talks of coalition is untimely and premature. When asked if the party is willing to consider PDP Laban acting president Senator Manny Pacquiao should he leave the ruling party due to internal conflicts, Pangilinan has this to say.
Basta sincero na naghahanap ng solusyon sa pinakamatinding krisis na hinaharap ng ating bansa, di ba? Bukas tayong makipag-usap.
For political analyst Professor Edmund Dayao, the opposition should explore all the possible options in fielding its candidates as President Duterte remains popular.
They have to learn how to organize themselves in order to offer an alternative candidate. They have to learn how to be more objective at the very least, no? And choose the right issues and therefore the right candidate for that matter in order to even hope to compete against the administration.
And plans to run for re-election to the Senate next year. The party is also open to support the 2019 Ocho Derecho candidates should they decide to run again in the upcoming polls.
Senate President Vicente Soto III raised concerns about the proliferation of the so-called troll farms on social media and called on Facebook to shut down such operations. However, election law expert says such an action will need new legislation. Nel Maribuhok will tell us why.
Senate President Vicente Soto III urged Facebook to shut down trolls farms until after the 2022 elections. Senator Panfilo Lacson earlier alleged that an undersecretary was organizing at least 2 troll farms in the provinces to attack government critics and potential candidates in the 2022 polls not aligned with the administration. Liberal Party President Senator Francis Pangilinan expressed concern over the report.
This is a cause for concern. Sabi ko nga, imbis na troll farm ang kanilang ginagastusan, dapat yung agricultural farms.
According to Senator Soto, troll farms would only taint the country's politics.
Walang ginawa kundi manira. Siguro shut it down until after the elections. So, after the elections, maglaro sila kung gusto nila.
Troll farms are those that create multiple fake social media accounts to post their political propaganda. These internet trolls seek to interfere or manipulate the public's decision-making. Soto said he has recently talked to a Facebook executive who supposedly told him that troll pages could be taken down if complaints were lodged against them. According to Ed Montayao, a political analyst, it is not easy to eliminate internet trolls.
Kung naiintindihan ni Senator Soto yung mga troll farm, alam niya na hindi pwedeng i-shut down yan. Kasi it's like saying you shut down the entire internet. Now, whether we like it or not, the new technology is a tool. Whether you use it for good or bad is entirely up to you.
But according to election law expert Attorney George Erwin Garcia, the Philippines need a new law to prevent dirty politics on the internet.
Kakailanganin ng isang batas kasi. Hindi kahit ang kongreso natin, sa kasalukuyan, walang ipinapasa na kahit na anong batas na magre-regulate ng social media sa Pilipinas.
Garcia also explained that the Commission on Elections has no power to crack down troll farms who are attacking potential candidates.
Palagay ko ang magagawa lamang ng COMELEC at yun lang naman ang kanilang sinasabi ay na-monitor lang, ma-regulate yung paggasto sa social media. Yung gastos, pero yung anong content, anong ilalaman, anong nakalagay, hindi nila pwedeng pakialaman yun. That will violate yung tinatawag na freedom of expression.
Presidential spokesman Harry Roque has already denied that the Duterte administration is behind the troll farms and emphasized that this is not a government policy. Nel Maribuhok, UNTV News and Rescue, we serve the people, we give glory to God.
The Philippine National Police is looking into the death of a teenager in a police operation in Biñan, Laguna last week. The police investigating the case said the operation was legitimate as it targets to arrest the number 10 most wanted person in the province. Leah Ilagan files this exclusive report.
The Philippine National Police Internal Affairs Service or PNP-IAS is in the process of pre-charge investigation into the killing of 16-year-old John Derek Maglintihelis or John D and Laguna number 10 most wanted person Antonio Dalit during a police operation in Biñan, Laguna on June 16. IAS Inspector General Attorney Alfigar Triambolo defended the police operation was legitimate but an investigation is still necessary in the case.
Para tingnan kung at bigyan ng pagkakataon ang mga respondent na nagpatunay na ang pagkamatay ay in the performance of duty at yung ginamit nilang force which resulting to death ay reasonable at hindi excessive.
Dalit was shot in his thorax while John D sustained gunshot wounds in his thorax, stomach, and upper extremities. 10 policemen involved in the operation have been placed under restrictive custody of Calabarzon Police. Attorney Triambolo added that IAS personnel went to the family of the victims to get their statement but they refused to cooperate.
Kami po ay nag-invite pa rin, nagpapadala ng mga notices sa mga relatives ng suspect or biktima na na magbigay ng kanilang mga ebidensya o testimonya.
Based on a police report, Helis and Dalit were killed when they tried to fight back while resisting arrest. Police retrieved from the scene 238 revolver pistol, 9 sachets of suspected shabu, and drug paraphernalia. Leia Ilagan, UNTV, News and Rescue. We serve the people, we give glory to God.
And for the news abroad, Hong Kong publishing firm Apple Daily is in the brink of closure following police raids and the arrests of its executives. Annie Mancilia explains why live. Yes, Annie?
Steph, next digital's publishing arm and pro-democracy Apple Daily might halt operations by Saturday as Hong Kong authorities have made it impossible for them to continue operations with their core financial assets of $2.3 million frozen. This came after police raided and found dozens of articles that allegedly breached the national security law. Apple Daily's editor-in-chief and chief executive officer were charged with conspiracy, colluding with a foreign country, and were denied bail on Saturday. 3 senior executives were also arrested and released pending investigations. Hong Kong Security Bureau Secretary John Lee said the police raid did not target media as a whole, but aimed at those who use reporting as a tool to put national security in perils. A senior employee revealed, however, that the freezing of financial assets is a proof to how far the government will go to impair private companies. Meanwhile, host of Apple Daily Nightly News broadcast, Ingrid Che, who signed off for good on Monday, said she hoped Hong Kong journalists would continue to hold ground and pursue the truth. Steph?
Annie, but how is it that the private financial assets were already put on hold, given that the charge against Apple Daily is still pending? Is that in accordance with the law in Hong Kong?
Well, Steph, as far as being legal is concerned, the Police National Security Unit conducted a search operation in Apple Daily's office with a search warrant under Article 43.1, where it states that it has the power to search and seize journalistic materials. With regards to the financial assets, though, the Security Bureau didn't elaborate on the legality of it, if any, but said that any application related to the frozen property would be handled according to the law. Now, this creates frustration to Apple Daily, of course, since it would mean no money to pay for employees and even electricity bills and other operational costs and whatnot, which put the company at risk of closing soon. Steph?
Thank you, Annie. Reporting live from Singapore. Indonesia is planning to increase the personal income tax of high net worth individuals in the country. Charisse Lomboan will give us the details live. Yes, Charisse?
Step, with Indonesia's budget deficit reaching 6.09% of GDP last year, caused by massive expenditures on cash aid, social security, and economic recovery programs, it is now aiming to boost state revenue to recover from the recession caused by the current pandemic. The government proposed for the amendment of the 1983 Law on General Tax Provisions and Procedures on the tax rate of highest earners, as well as a new carbon tax, and adding VAT to food, education, and healthcare services, among others. Key to its plan is the proposed tax increase of 35% from the present 30% for individuals with earnings of at least 5 billion rupiah a year, or equivalent to over $350,000. The higher tax rate proposal will cover a very small number of people, according to Finance Minister Sri Mulyani Indrawati. The Indonesian government plans to return the budget deficit to within 3% of GDP by 2023. Steph?
Thank you, Charisse, for that report. The World Health Organization has confirmed plans of doing a technology transfer to train developing companies in South Africa producing the latest mRNA COVID vaccine technology. Joselito Liquido will tell us why live. Yes, Joselito?
Staff World Health Organization Director General Tedros Adhanom Ghebreyesus has laid out the plans of pursuing a technology transfer in South Africa to train and accredit companies in producing latest and advanced technology mRNA vaccines against COVID.
The consortium involves a company called African Biologics and Vaccines, which will act as the hub both by manufacturing mRNA vaccines itself and by providing training to a second manufacturer called BioVac. In time, Afrigen could provide training to other manufacturers in Africa and beyond.
mRNA vaccines are believed to be easier and faster to produce, and is the technology companies like Pfizer and Moderna now use. Ghebreyesus states that this step is vital in boosting access to vaccines in poorer countries like Africa, where COVID deaths and infections have risen to 40% in the past week. At the same time, South African President Cyril Ramaphosa calls this technological advance a historical step that will boost Africa's life-saving technology and address the inequalities developing countries suffer from.
We will be able to plan for the entire value chain, from training a critical mass of young people, enhancing and maintaining our supply chain, and ensuring the efficient use of medicines.
WHO Chief Scientist Soumya Swaminathan states that the formal production of the vaccines in the country is targeted to commence in less than a year, with hopes to spread the life-saving technology within the entire continent. Steph?
Joselito, are there any more hubs in the pipeline based on WHO's plans?
Steph, WHO has received quite a good number of different proposals from the expressions of interest received from different countries. In fact, WHO reported 28 offers were received to either provide the mRNA vaccine technology or to host a technology hub or to do both. WHO is expected to continue in evaluating these proposals in the coming weeks and identify future additional hubs as required. Back to you, Steph.
Thank you, Joselito, reporting live. And those are the reasons behind the news in other parts of the globe. I'm Stephanie C. live from Hong Kong. Good evening.
President Rodrigo Duterte has rejected the proposal of the Department of Education to hold face-to-face classes in areas where COVID-19 risks are low, saying he cannot gamble on the health of children. But a group of teachers insisted the government must resolve first the problem in the learning system. Joan Nano will tell us why.
300 schools were proposed by the Department of Education to hold limited face-to-face classes for the school year 2021 to 2022. But due to the reported Delta variant, which is said to be more dangerous and contagious, the president still did not allow physical classes unless everyone is vaccinated.
Dito sa face-to-face, I think I am not inclined to agree with you. I'm sorry, but mahirap. I cannot gamble on the health of the children.
Parents were divided on the president's decision.
Sa online na lang muna siguro. Kasi until now, meron pa rin tayong pandemic, di ba? Meron pa rin COVID na, no. Hindi pa rin. Kasi yun nga yung safety ng bata. Kasi yun nga tayo, di ba? Pinag-iingatan yung lahat ng ng health ng bata. Okay din naman po kasi magkaroon ng face-to-face ulit. Di ba may naman po tayo ng 1 seat apart. Parang tas gano'n na lang din po, mga naka-face mask po yung mga bata.
Yung focus, wala doon, di ba? Anytime na i-mute nila para hindi marinig yung sinasabi nila, magagawa nila. Iba talaga yung face-to-face kasi naiintindihan nila, talagang makikita mo kung anong ginagawa ng estudyante, kung nakapokus ba sa'yo, ganun.
For the Teachers' Dignity Coalition, the DepEd and the government must first resolve the problem regarding the lack of gadgets, internet access, and error modules. According to the group, the implemented blended learning system in the past school year 2020 to 2021 has been a big challenge for teachers and students. DepEd previously promoted many ways for students to learn under the blended learning, and the lack of gadget or internet access does not prevent them from learning. Joanano, UNTV News and Rescue. We serve the people, we give glory to God.
The Office of the Vice President and the City Government of Manila partnered and launched today a drive-through vaccination initiative for tricycle and delivery riders. Many were asking if there is a possible Robredo-Moreno tandem in the 2022 polls, but the two officials say the vaccination drive has no political color. JP Nunez will tell us why.
The Vaccination Express was launched today in Manila City, which was operated by the Office of the Vice President. It aims to give tricycle drivers, pedicab drivers, and delivery riders a convenient and fastest way to get inoculated as part of the A4 priority group or the economic frontliners. In partnership with the private sector and the Manila City LGU, Vice President Leni Robredo brought the drive-through vaccination to the CCP complex. As of 12 noon today, around 900 riders got inoculated, and they were also given a free gas card worth 500 pesos as incentives, which aims to encourage more riders to get vaccinated. Manila LGU and OVP plans a continuous partnership for the program. However, when Mayor Isko Moreno Domagoso asked if their partnership will go through 2022 elections, the mayor could only answer that their priority is on COVID response and no political business.
Ang mandato naman namin dalawa hanggang 2022 Ang expiration of our mandate is June 30 of 2022. Yes, we'll be happy. Natutuwa lang ako kasi anybody na tutulong sa mga taga-Maynila bilang ama ng Luzon, tinatanaw namin yun ng utang na loob.
Meanwhile, Vice President Leni Robredo explains that this is just part of her job as an official and has nothing to do with a possible partnership with the mayor to run for the next election. Their office also aims to expand the drive-through vaccination to the other LGUs.
Kasi yung pandemic naman, walang political color ito, di ba? Yung trabaho namin, hindi kami dapat tumigilin sa preparation bago po 2022. And we also grateful to the system na nila.
Vice President also believes that through the program, more delivery riders will get inoculated, which is the key for the reopening of businesses and the economic industry. JP Nunez, UNTV, News and Rescue. We serve the people. We give glory to God.
The Metropolitan Manila Development Authority, or MMDA, identifies Balintawak Bridge as one of the major choke points in EDSA. Asher Cadapan Jr. details why.
The Balintawak Bridge serves as an important interchange to several motorists plying in Epifanio de los Santos Avenue or coming from North Luzon Expressway and A. Bonifacio Avenue. But with only 3 lanes for every direction, with 1 lane dedicated to EDSA busway route, congestion is inevitable, especially during rush hour. Metropolitan Manila Development Authority EDSA Traffic Czar Edison Bong Nebria explains that while thousands of vehicles pass through Balintawak Cloverleaf, the bridge itself is critical.
It's very critical because it accommodates so many volumes of vehicles coming from different directions. North, south, east, west. Remember na yung Balintawak Bridge is the interchange that will connect you to EDSA if you're coming from North Luzon Expressway and entry to North Luzon Expressway.
Increasing the number of vehicles adds up to the congestion in the area. The MMDA records more than 380,000 vehicles utilizing EDSA on June 10, 2021, almost the same number before the COVID-19 pandemic started. MMDA Chairman Benjamin Benhar Abalos Jr., however, emphasizes the need for more infrastructure projects to help ease the heavy traffic.
Ang volume natin ngayon is 382,000. Ang pre-pandemic is about 402,000 o 405,000. So doon pa lang makikita mo na parang ang mga tao na sabik lumabas. Meron pang difference. Pero ang solusyon talaga dyan is to make more infrastructure.
With this, the MMDA, hand in hand with the Department of Public Works and Highways, plans to widen the Balintawak Bridge to help with the congestion.
So ang gagawin ngayon, yung Balintawak Bridge, imbis na 3, gagawin na. Gagawin na ang construction ng Department of Public Works itong taon na ito. So asahan po ninyo, at least alam na mga motorista kung ano mangyayari para maibsan ang traffic natin dito.
The MMDA has yet to confirm when the bridge widening will commence, but it targets to complete the project within a couple of years. In the meantime, the MMDA reopens the U-turn slot in EDSA Dario Bridge to alleviate the congestion. Asher Kadapan Jr., UNTV News and Rescue. We serve the people, we give glory to God.
A transgender weightlifter from New Zealand is selected to participate at the Tokyo Olympic Games. Marvy Delfin will tell us the details live. Yes, Marvy, go ahead.
William, in an official announcement on Monday, New Zealand weightlifter Laurel Hubbard was confirmed to join the upcoming Olympic Games in Tokyo next month as the world's first transgender athlete. Laurel, a 43-year-old born male who transitioned to female, will be competing in the women's super heavyweight 87 kilogram plus category. According to the New Zealand Olympic Committee Chief Karen Smith, Laurel had met all the qualifications required for trans athletes.
It is important for us to note that Laurel has met the New Zealand Olympic Committee selection criteria based on performance, and importantly, Laurel has met the International Weightlifting Federation eligibility criteria for athletes who have transitioned from male to female.
Richie Patterson, the president of the Olympic weightlifting of the country, has also commended Laurel for her perseverance to return after an elbow injury. The said athlete has expressed her gratitude to her fellow New Zealanders for the support she has received. Meanwhile, the Tokyo Olympics will begin as scheduled on the 23rd of July. William?
Yes, Marvy, what's the public's reaction on this, especially that Laurel will be the first transgender to have been allowed to compete in the women's category?
William, the decision to allow Laurel Hubbard to compete in the women's category has sparked a lot of different reactions and even sentiments from the public. This is because Laurel has lived as a male for 35 years and even competed in the past under the male category. So we have seen other public opinions raising this as a big issue. Some relate this matter with the previous case of the South African runner Mogadi Casper Semenya, who's born female, but due to her elevated level of testosterone was not allowed to compete in the women's category. Back to you, William.
Yes, thank you, Marvy Delfin, live from Perth, Australia. A market located in the U.S. purchased 50,000 bands that aim to visually communicate physical distancing comfort levels of an individual and giving it to customers for free. Dale De Castro reports why.
As Americans attempt to maneuver through an almost pre-pandemic life, a grocery store named Medcap's Market, located at Madison and Wauwatosa, provided customers a new means of non-verbal communication through color-coded bands. The concept is to ease the awkwardness and fear amongst the public in terms of social distancing. These non-verbal communicating social bands are created in the colors that mimic a traffic light: red, yellow, and green. Red meaning an individual wants to stay 6 feet apart, along with no physical contact with others. Yellow indicates elbows only, implying caution but not necessarily needing to be 6 feet away. While green welcomes handshakes and high fives. The market made a one-time purchase of approximately 50,000 bracelets for the other 3 locations and plans to review the demand once they are gone. These social bands are made accessible to customers at the entrance when they walk in and within the store. The staff members are also seen wearing them. Dale De Castro, UNTV News and Rescue. We serve the people, we give glory to God.
And before we close, we will leave you with a final word giving glory to God from the book of Proverbs chapter 19, verse 17. It says, "He that hath pity upon the poor lendeth unto the Lord, and that which he hath given will he pay him again."
And those are the reasons behind the news, June 22, 2021. I am Harleen Delgado.
Reasons we deliver to you as they unfold. I'm Angelo Castro III.
And because we need to know, we will always ask why. I am William Theo. We serve the people. We give glory to God.